Hello there. I just wanted to show you something that I've been working on for stereo effects, or stereo widening, or stereo distortion, should I say. I'm sure that a lot of people are aware that if you've got a bass, a very low frequency source signal, usually you position it at the center of the stereo field, because if you try to widen it, you get all kinds of phase effects, and that's because from one speaker to the other, there's going to be zones where the signal cancels each other out in the room. But it's possible. What I figured out is if you actually animate the pan from left to right, instead of trying to spread the signal, you can actually achieve something similar to a widened bass. So you're not actually sending the signal from both speakers as such, more of moving it from one side to the other. So here I've got an example. We've got a polymer that's just outputting a sub carrier, sub bass here. There we go. And I've got a signalizer on the end that's showing the stereo field. Well, it's bang in the center right now. So here's an FX grid that I've written, which attempts to widen this thing. Let's turn this up a bit. So what's happening is the signal comes in, and it I'll just turn this off for now, this bias, and we multiply the signal. It's a mono signal, and we multiply the signal by a value here, just to be able to control the output. So when this is down to 0, this is 0 here, and that's feeding into a modulator, which is modulating this pan knob here. So as the signal goes up, it's panning right, or as it goes below 0, it's panning left. Right now this is multiplying by 0, so this is 0 coming out here. As I increase this, if you on headphones or have a nice speaker, you can hear that this is actually being spread, or at least it sounds that way, quite wide over the stereo field, until the point where you actually start to get what I'm calling a stereo distortion. It's distortion at the edges of the stereo field. And we can take that distortion and turn it down. You can see where it's happening, where it's clipping at the edges here. There's actually harmonics at the edge. And I can also turn this on and control the bias. So this is controlling how much of the signal goes left versus right, depending on the shape of the actual underlying signal. In this case it's a sine wave, so it's probably symmetric. But we can exploit this this effect further by doing actual distortion in the stereo space. If I turn the second one on, here I've got the same thing, but I've introduced one of the new filters, and you can see how this is affecting the Alright, add a SVF filter. So you can get some quite creative effects. We can apply this to drums as well. So this is without it. Here it's that's the wrong one. Let me show you the signal over here. That's without it. It's much more spread out. Without it. And with it. And then some keys at the end. Headphones, you'd probably be able to hear it widening the signal. And a touch of distortion in there as well, which you can control with this. Anyway, something interesting for you to consider building. So basically, let's just stop this for a second. So yeah, if I was to build it from scratch, you take the sound in, you can use value. So this goes between 0 and 1, and a multiply. And we'll multiply that by that. So the assumption is this is really mostly for mono signals. I know I use it on those keys, which is, it still works, but you're going to get distortion, of course. But the assumption is this is a mono signal in, preferably like in the low frequencies, it works better. And then we're going to take that and multiply it by this value, and then we're going to get a modulator. And a pan. Stick that there. And then adjust that. I guess we can go all the way around. So this is the basic patch. If I put that here and turn these off. So right now it's not doing anything because this is at 0. But as I bring this up, you can start to hear that in the stereo field. I'll pull this up. It's quite effective, I think.